Okay, we're going live. Trying something totally new today. I got a whole new setup going on. I've made some adjustments on my cameras and I'm monitoring what's going on right now. So I just want, okay, perfect. So I got some new setups going on and I just am gonna take my earbuds out real quick because that's going to screw me up because all these live streams are on a delay. So because of that, I can't listen to the stream. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get these beans going here. I put up on the screen today's roast, and we're going to talk about some different things that will probably interest you more in wanting to roast coffee at home. You know, I read and I listen to a lot of different videos and, you know, things like that while I'm driving. Well, I thought I put up the roast we're doing here. I don't see it switching over. Oh, sorry, my thing paused here, sorry. So that's why. Remember, I do everything live, you know, and I do it live because this is what it is. It took me a little longer to set this up today because I'm doing these new things. And you know what? I just set this stuff up and I just start going. Let me turn the roaster on here. I'll get back to what I was talking about here in just a second here. So as you see, doing a Brazil and a, I don't know, Solawesi, I don't even know what that is. And I'm not even sure on what the wet hold process is. I haven't looked it up, I've never heard of it before. So this is the first time doing that, but this is what I have mixed in the drum. I got 2 pounds, 1 pound of each, Brazil and this Solawesi. And I don't even know if that's how you say it. I put this up here so that you can read and see yourself what we're dealing with for flavors and notes. Like I say, I just pick these. I don't pick these for any reason of pairing notes and flavors together. I just put these together as I pull them out of my cabinet. I love mixing the different roasts. I love, you know, putting these different flavors together. And so with this, it's just what we're gonna go with. So I have things set up a lot differently. I have some scenes set up. I'm gonna talk about the setup real quick, and then I'm going to get into some other information that I wanted to get into with you. My setup is I have the turkey fryer style burner, which is a high output, high BTU burner. It doesn't have to be. It's just what I have because that's what I got. It's got the red knob on it, and it is a high BTU output propane burner. You can use a regular burner. It doesn't matter. This one's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $80, $90 on Amazon. And this is just what I have and what I use. It kind of puts the flame out at a higher pressure, so it's more of like a jet. You might be able to hear it as it's, you know, going. But a regular burner, that's the lower BTU, will work just fine, and it probably might even work better. This one here, I have problems with it going out in the wind and stuff like that. So, you know, today we have a really great day going. Looks like the stream's working really well. So I already know I messed my camera up, and I had it all adjusted and everything like that, and when I was starting to stream, the camera had gone off. So now I think my straight ahead camera is off a little bit. So I won't really know until it shows up, because there's like a 20-second delay. I had set it up so I could stand here and talk and all that kind of stuff. But so I have my burner, I have my drum roaster, which I got on Amazon, and it is kind of hard to find right now. Oh, it looks like I do fit in the screen fairly well. This drum roaster was about $130, $140. It is hard to find right now on Amazon. They do have some different ones, some different sizes. Then they also have basket roasters. You know, and you can always, you know, if you want to try it out, you can go the really inexpensive route and you can get a popcorn popper. Sweet Maria's is the place that I like to use to do my, get all my stuff from. I get my beans there. I get my thermometer there. It's a K-type thermometer, so it has a thermocouple and a long wire that goes into my drum. And I'm hoping it works good for me today. I don't know if it is, I don't know if it isn't. We're just gonna kind of have to see how it goes. The big key thing that I have here is the window on the side of the window here on the side of the drum. You can see inside and you can see what's going on with the beans. Now I do have the burner set a little bit higher. No reason other than I try to do this roast a little bit quicker. This is my main roast that I do every 2 weeks. I do 2 pounds every 2 weeks, and I try to talk about, you know, what I do, and I just do the lives to show everybody what the process is, how it works, and just trying to get people interested. And I'm going to talk about some more details on that in just a minute. So I have 2 sieves here, 2 colanders. They're metal. I don't know what kind of metal, but they're just metal. They're the, you know, I got them at Walmart. And I have a fan. It's a turbo fan. It just blows straight up. It tilts both ways, but I have it so it's tilted straight up. And this is what we're going to use to cool the beans and do the de-chafing process. And I have 2 of them because one is a little bit small for 2 pounds. So I split it up after I get it cooling and get it going and all that kind of stuff. So we got to monitor the temperature because temperature is the key factors in roasting coffee here. We're going to be looking to really pay attention to it at around 400 degrees because that's when things are going to start hopping and happening. And the process goes really, really quick once you get to the 400 degree mark. So that's why we want to just really kind of pay attention to it. Our first key point that we're going to be looking for is the first crack. The first crack is the point where the moisture inside the bean starts basically expanding and it basically evaporates out, and it's like popcorn. It causes the bean to crack from the expansion of that moisture evaporating inside the bean. You're basically, you know, just when you're roasting, you're basically just drying the bean even further. And when you roast, you lose about, I think it was like not quite 1/3 of a pound of the bean weight. So since I'm roasting 2 pounds, I won't get 2 actual full pounds of coffee out of this roast. So that's just one key thing. I get 8 pounds of coffee, green coffee beans from Sweet Maria's. It cost me about $70 shipped to my door. Now let's talk about, since we have all that out of the way with all the equipment and all the things that we're using, let's talk about why coffee roasting at home is especially if you're a coffee lover, is something you might want to really look into and start doing. So like I said, I watch a lot of videos on all kinds of different topics and things like that while I'm working, and it's mostly I just listen to them. I don't watch videos, I listen to videos, and I try to educate myself on a bunch of different areas that I'm really interested hobby-wise. And so I started watching some of these coffee videos that were talking about the process of coffee and how long it sits in the stores, how long it's been since it's actually roasted, all those sorts of things. And one of the key things that I got out of the video was there is one coffee company that does put the roast date on their bags, and it's Stumptown. And that's kind of important because, you know, the flavor will start degrading no matter whether it's, you know, no air gets in, no light gets in, all those sorts of things. The longer this coffee sits out, the more, what do you call it, degradation to the flavors are going to start happening. It's going to, the flavor's going to, you know, diminish from its original roast. So that's one of the things and one of the reasons why doing this, I mean, you're going to be drinking fresh roasted coffee within a day. Now, I don't really necessarily store my coffee properly, the beans, once they're done. I should be using a bag with a valve. What these bags do, just like the bags in your store, is it's a one-way check valve, air valve on it that lets the carbon dioxide that starts building up in the container breathe out, and it doesn't allow air back in. Let me just do a quick check here. All right, we're still looking good. And those are kind of the key things to trying to retain the flavor profile of the coffee bean in the roast. So when you're buying coffee, you really don't know how long it's been sitting. You don't know how long it was sitting at the warehouse where, you know, it's distributed from. You don't know how long it was when it was actually roasted and shipped to that warehouse. And then you don't know how long it sat in that warehouse before it was shipped to the store. And then you don't know how long it's been sitting on the store shelf, because there's a million different types of coffee out there. So just because you go over there and you buy a bag of full unground beans, and that's another thing, you know, you should buy unground beans. They're gonna retain the flavor profile that much more. Once it's ground and all that, it really starts losing its flavor profile. And the quality of the coffee starts diminishing. So with all those things incorporated together, we need to talk about the types of beans. You have the Arabica and the Robusta. Arabica is like the premium type bean, and it's the one that's most sought after by the better coffee brands. It's more expensive too because it's the better quality. The Robusta is a lower quality type bean, and because it's a little bit lower quality, it has a tendency to lose its flavor a little bit quicker, and its flavor profiles are a little bit harder to pinpoint, you know, get a consistent flavor profile out of it on your roast. Now, there's all different roasting methods that a lot of these roasters use, from the timing, the temperatures and the timing, the air and the timing, you know, everything like that. So just because you're roasting it in a drum, you know, there's a lot of different things you can do to increase that flavor profile. So the reality is the coffee that you're getting in your store, it could be a lot better. It could be a lot worse. On top of that, what I was learning is a lot of these big name coffee companies like, you know, Folgers, U-Ban, the freeze-drieds and all that sort of stuff, the actual quality of the coffee that they use is of a really, really low grade. And they actually find that there are, they're not the cleanest beans. I'm not going to get into too much detail because, you know, I really don't know the facts on this. I haven't done a lot of research in this area, but you know, from what I understand from some of these you know, videos I've been watching, you know, the dirtiness of the bean isn't quite the same as a more quality or a bean that like an Arabica, and that's going to affect the flavor. So you know, there's a lot of those things you just think about in coffee. You just think you're going to buy a bag of coffee, you're just putting your coffee pot, you're brewing it, and boom, you know, you have a great cup of coffee. This Coffee Fresh is so much different. So we are getting to the first crack now. So I want to start paying attention a little bit more to the color that's going on inside there, because I don't always trust my thermometer. So I do pay attention to that, and the noise and the sound that the roaster's making with the beans cracking, there's a distinctive second crack that's going to start coming around 400 degrees, where you're going to get a more constant and consistent cracking noise. And it's going to be much faster. You're going to get a little bit more smoke. Also, because I'm using two different beans, each one may roast a little bit differently. One might roast faster than the other, so one might be darker than the other. On top of that, you know, you can just roast 1 pound at a time. And you know, here's another thing a lot of people don't know about. I mean, I really like dark coffee. I like the flavor, I like the deepness, I like the espresso type flavors. You know, the flavor profiles that come out at like 440 and higher temperature when you're roasting. You know, normally about a 425 to a 430 is a medium roast, but every bean is different, so every roast is different at that temperature. A 425 for the Brazil might be a medium, but for the other one that I forgot the name of it, the other one that I'm roasting, 425 may be darker, it may be lighter. And because it's a wet process, it's probably lighter because there's a little bit more moisture content in there. And this also may be why it seems like the cracking's happening a little bit early. I mean, I still see that the color of the bean is still pretty light. So I really feel like that first crack was maybe that wet process bean that I was showing you. I'll put that back up on the screen for you. Maybe that is why I got a first crack at such a lower temperature. Generally speaking, I get the first crack around 390 degrees, 370, you know, somewhere in that area. So my point about the darknesses in the roast is the darker the roast, the less caffeine the beans will have. So the lighter the roast, the more caffeine. So if you're looking for a coffee that has, you know, deep flavor, but has more caffeine, you're going to need to use something that probably has maybe some dark and some medium or lighter roasted coffee in it. And that's the thing you can do with roasting at home. You could do two different roasts. You could do a light roast, and then you could do a dark roast. And if you're going to do like two different roasts at this on the same day, okay, we're at 408, 409, so I'm going to start paying attention to my roast here now. Let's see, let's put it on there. So we're at 413, so I can hear the sound of the cracking. It's much more intensified now, and I don't know how well you can hear that in my microphone. So I'm going to turn this off at about 425, 427, somewhere in that area. And I can see the beans are getting darker inside the drum here. And that's what I'm looking for. The intensity is getting much better. And I'm talking the intensity of the actual cracking. And I'm just kind of watching this and watching the thermometer here too at the same time. Starting to smoke a lot, which definitely means we're getting in that close area. We're at 426 now. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. I'm going to let the roaster spin for just a few more minutes. And like I say, got a really deep smoke going on in there. That to me scares me because I'm afraid that when I open the door, might get some flame action. I don't know. It doesn't look that dark. It actually looks like a nice medium roast there. So we're at 431 now. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. See what happens. I haven't burnt a batch yet on live video, so let's see if we can't not do it today too. Okay, this actually looks kind of dark. My thermometer might have failed me. Let me see if I can get this to switch over. I feel like this is pretty dark. So I'm just trying to cool them down right now. I don't know if this changed over. Let me just go ahead and hit that again. Doesn't look like it changed over, so. All right, that should change over. Yeah, so it does look like this got a little bit darker than I was hoping for, but it actually looks really good. And I kind of was thinking by the amount of smoke that was coming out that it was a little higher temperature than what was advertised on the thermometer. I'm definitely going to say it does look like one bean is darker than the other, so I'm thinking that the whole wet process might have roasted a little bit slower. So that might be something I pay attention to the next time I do a roast, is what I'm roasting together between wet process and dry process. I got to look up what wet process is. I've actually never seen that before on a bag. I've actually never had that coffee type before. And so the bean subscription I have with Sweet Maria's is it's the sampler pack. So that means every 2 weeks I get 8 pounds of just different coffees. They're all in 1 pound bags. And sometimes I'll look at the flavor profiles on the bags and I'll roast them according to their flavor profile. I think on these two here, they both had kind of a chocolatey, nutty type flavor profile listed on it, so they probably go really well together. Not a lot of chafe in this one. So chafe is just the outside of the bean that's basically come off during the roasting process from the cracking and the expansion of the beans. You know, the beans get larger when you roast them. They're much smaller as when they're green. So ever since I got this new thermometer sensor probe, wire, whatever you want to call it, I don't know why, but I have a much harder time getting that to sit down in the beans. And I think as this roaster turns, the wire's kind of lifting out of it, you know, out of the beans, and it's actually coming out of the drum. So I wanted to actually put a piece of tape on it and tape it to the roaster so maybe it stayed there, but I didn't. So it's something I'm going to have to try to remember on the next one. So my next process after roasting here is I let these just sit out on the counter and breathe till tomorrow. You know, we'll drink some tomorrow morning, because we generally run out by the last day. So like Sunday is the last day on our last batch. And I must say, the last batch was really good. You know, you probably didn't see it, but our last batch was had a lot more fruitier type notes to it. I forgot exactly what it was, but the flavor was really good. I actually really liked it. And I do put, I drink 1 cup just straight coffee, and I drink my 2nd cup with espresso shots in it. And, you know, these are 16 ounce, you know, drinking, you know, containers that you like can take in the car and stuff like that I use. You know, and what I do to, and this could be a good tip for you. What I do, since our coffee goes off at like 4 in the morning, but I don't leave for work until like 6. The coffee in the coffee pot, you know, we have one of those carafe type coffee pots, so there's no heating element keeping it warm. And our last coffee pot, the coffee maker we really liked, but for some reason, you know, it's one of those coffee pots that grinds at the time when you make the coffee, so it grinds it right then and there, and then it makes the coffee. And we really liked that one. It had a little bit bigger of a pot, and also the carafe seemed to keep the coffee warmer longer. So what I'm finding is on the cup that I make for work, and that's the cup that I kind of take the longest time to drink, I preheat my cup. I turn the water on the sink to the full hot, and I preheat my cup before I put my coffee in it. You know, I make my espresso shots, and then I let the coffee cup sit there with that hot water in it for, you know, while I'm making the espresso. And then I pour it all in there. And what I've noticed is it makes my coffee last longer, because I'll drink that cup from till like 10 o'clock in the morning. I just kind of sip on that all day long. And I've just noticed that it's definitely helped keep it warmer longer. I don't like the coffee pots that have the heating element on it that keep your coffee warm. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about, because by the time you get to your 2nd cup, it's already just ruined the coffee flavor. And you don't even really want to drink it. So that's why I use the carafe style coffee makers. And I also use, you know, it grinds before it brews, because that's the freshest coffee that you can get. And you'll be surprised at how different the flavor is. This one here seems like it has more chafe coming out of it. So I just kind of do this until I feel like I've gotten most all of it out of there. I'll show you what we got here. But I know you'll notice the difference from roasting at home, you know, your own coffee, the difference in the flavors. So this is definitely more of a dark roast, you can see, but you might be able to see some of these lighter beans in here. They're kind of speckled all through here. And I know it's probably really hard to see on the screen here. I'm trying to wait for it to come on my screen over there so I could see what this is looking like in your view. And this very well could have been at 427 degrees when I pulled it off. It just could be that both the blends, you know, roasted a little bit faster. You know, that anything's possible. That's why I say, you know, at 400, you want to really start paying attention to your beans and the color. And you kind of will start learning over time, everything about the smell, the smoke output, how much is coming out of the roaster, and then also the cracking sound. You'll learn, and there's nothing wrong with turning the roaster off, opening your basket and looking at them. Because the basket roasters that I've had, it's hard to see in those because the basket gets darker the longer that you use it. And it's hard to really tell what's going on in there. I got chafe all over me. So sometimes you need to turn the burner off, open the basket and look inside, see how it's looking if you can't see. And a lot of times too, those baskets, you can't put a thermometer in it. So it's a guessing game to figure out when it's done and when it's not done, and that's where the whole sight and sound thing comes into play. I mentioned earlier, you can start out using a coffee roaster, like a popcorn popper. Sweet Maria's has them. It's like $25. It's a real easy way to start, but the only problem with a popcorn popper is this is a popcorn popper that has the hand crank on it that stirs everything on the bottom of the pot. And it's basically a popcorn popper. It's Orville Redenbacher and everything. And you have to crank it, and you have to think about this. This takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to get a good roast done. So you have to sit there and you have to crank it for that amount of time. And on top of that, getting the thermocouple wire down into the top of the pot has a lid, and it has some like vent holes. And what I did is I took a piece of wire and I attached this to a piece of wire, and I elongated one of the vent holes in the top, like so it was halfway in between the center and the side of the pot, and I stuck it down in there, and I just watched and made sure that it was sitting, yay high off of the bottom, and so it wasn't touching the bottom, but that it's sitting around this point here, and so the beans are touching as it goes around. And I don't know if that helps so you can see it or not. I don't know what's working here for you. But anyways, you see there's a little wire probe up here on top. That's your temperature sensing. So, you can't really go wrong for, $40, for a sampler pack, a 4-pound sampler pack of some coffee. If you already have a burner at home, you're halfway there, propane. The only other thing is you don't even really have to use a fan. I set this up to cool it, and it was just a thought I had for dechafing, because if you watch a video on how they roast coffee, the process that they use to dechafe is basically just a fan that blows across as everything falls down through this tube. Air flows across this way, and it's just enough air to push out the chaff, but let the beans fall, because the chaff is really light. And that's kind of the same principle of what I'm doing here. I'm just creating an airflow, so as the chaff is reaching the top, it's getting blown out. And also by doing this, same thing will happen as you rotate it around by shaking it. But like I said, so like for $60, you can get the pot, a 4-pound sampler pack. If I was just saying you have a burner, that's not something you're going to want to do inside on your stove, because it's going to make a mess. It's going to smell your house up pretty bad. It's going to smoke your house up pretty bad. Your fire alarm's probably going to go off. Doing it in your house is, I've never done it in my house because I know what it does outside. I've got a mess everywhere out here from the chaff. When it rains, I do it in my garage, or I have a little pop-up tent that I set up and I do it underneath my tent, because I don't have any kind of awning or covering out here in my backyard. Living in Western Washington, it rains a lot. And luckily for me, we've been getting more into the sun and out of the rain and the clouds. So Things have been getting a lot better. Anyways, you know, that's my roast for this week. I tried to supply you with a little bit more information, a little bit better setup on my screens and the views and all that sort of stuff. The one thing I wanted to get in there also was the way that you could read the coffee bean bags. So I can just put them on screen for you so you can read them yourself and see what they are. And I wanted to give you a little bit more information about, you know, why the coffee that you're buying in the store, even at coffee stands, you know, the coffees could be of a lesser quality. You know, you don't know. You know, everybody knows Starbucks, but you know, I've heard that Starbucks, you know, does take some shortcuts on a few things as far as their bean quality goes. They say that they're high quality, but I don't know. It's speculation on my part. I don't drink Starbucks. I don't like it. I don't like the flavor. I think the consensus is that their coffee beans taste more burnt. This here, when I roasted it, the coffee never smelled burnt while I was roasting it in smoke. And if you've ever been by a Starbucks when they're roasting coffee at their, you know, roasting place, their big roasting warehouse, we have one right by my work. And when they're roasting coffee, which they're roasting all the time, 24/7, it just smells burnt. And I've said this before, I have another roasting company that I go by that's more of a generic. But you know what, when I go by that coffee place, when they're roasting their coffee, never smells burnt. You can literally actually smell the flavor of the roast that they're doing. You can smell the sweetness of, say, like hazelnut or, you know, whatever it is that they're roasting. So, like I said, I just do these lives to show people how easy it is to roast coffee at home and how you can improve the flavor of coffee. You know, lots of people enjoy drinking coffee, and the next step from roasting your own coffee is to just learning how to make your own favorite espresso drink. Get an espresso machine, learn how to froth the milk. You can buy the flavors, and you can save yourself a lot of money. Instead of paying $7 for your drink and waiting in line for 20 minutes, you can do it yourself at home in 5 minutes before you go to work and have a fresh roasted batch of coffee and a nice fresh made coffee drink. Okay, well, I hope that sparks your interest a little bit. I do this every 2 weeks. If you want to, you know, get your comfort leveled up to maybe do it, maybe watch a couple more videos that I do. I have a whole bunch on my channel, and you know, think about trying to do these things on your own. Not a lot of work, and it's good. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.